Hello everyone and welcome to the University of Arts London College of Fashion 2024 Fashion Business School Postgraduate podcast sessions. These series of panel discussions have been driven and influenced by the exciting and topical fashion industry related subjects researched and delivered by our postgraduate master's programme students for their final projects. They cover current and relevant themes shaping the wider fashion industry, such as sustainable practice, the use of AI and XR technologies, and also inclusivity. We hope that you enjoy these session discussions and thank you for listening.
Hello, I'm Hannah Middleton, Knowledge Exchange Lead for the Fashion Business School. I'm here today with two of our MA students, Ginerva Calo and Ena Udemba. Udemba, to discuss women and inclusivity in the fashion industry.
Yeah.
So I think what would be really lovely is if you could, both of you just introduce yourselves, maybe share with us what course you studied, and the title of your dissertation. So Ginerva, if I could start with you.
Yeah. So hi everyone, my name is Ginerva Calo. I'm a MA Strategic Fashion Marketing graduate, and my dissertation is titled Empowering Clothing, a business report exploring how women's wear fashion brands can engage in authentic brand activism to promote women's empowering clothing choices and foster brand equity.
Wow, long title.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
So,
And
hello
Ena.
everyone. My name is Ena Udemba. I recently just graduated I did MA Fashion Design Management, and the title of my master's project was Empowering Plus-Size Women in the Workplace, an exploratory study of the barriers and facilitators of finding suitable workwear for plus-size women in America.
Great, thank you. So actually, Ena, your focus is more about sort of barriers to those plus size women in finding suitable workwear.
Yeah.
And Ginerva, yours is more about sort of using clothing to empower.
Yeah.
So really kind of two different perspectives, I suppose. But both sort of with that focus on women and inclusivity, or exclusivity, we could even say, in the fashion industry. So what will be interesting would be if, perhaps I'm going to ask you first, Ginerva, because actually your title was quite lengthy.
Yeah.
And having read through your dissertation, there's a few kind of words that perhaps I wasn't so familiar with. So your focus was really on brand activism and femvertising.
Mm-hmm.
And how you believe that they influence brand equity and can actually offer brands a competitive advantage. But perhaps you could explain a little bit, what you actually mean sort of by brand activism and also by femvertising. And there were some other words that you mentioned earlier on when we discussed them.
Yeah, so basically brand activism, although it has been studied as a concept since 1972, it just came out as a definition in 2018 as a marketing strategies where companies take public stances on socio-political issues to promote societal progress. And the femvertising linked really well with brand activism because it was a type of advertising where brand would challenge gender stereotypes. So I saw femvertising as a type of brand activism, and throughout my dissertation I argued how femvertising can focus only on promoting clothing freedom for women. This came out because L'Oreal Group conducted a study this year and found that 1 in 2 people believe that women's physical appearance is to be blamed for sexual harassment, giving explaining that although we're in the 21st century, clothing is still very gender biased. And I wanted to explore how brands, especially fashion brands, is very linked with the clothing problem, can do something to promote a freedom on this aspect. And then it appeared also that brand activism can provide a business advantage, especially when done authentically. So my dissertation focused on finding this authentic frame to brand activism.
Yeah, it's quite worrying. You said 1 in 2 women.
Yeah.
That was the research.
1 in 2 people.
1 in 2 people.
Yeah.
So that was a study of men and women. They felt that
Yes.
that influenced, perhaps the way you were treated. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was conducting in over 20 countries.
Wow.
So
it's
that
not
was
just. It's probably potentially a global kind of perception. Wow. Okay. And then Ena, from your perspective, you were looking more at, which I suppose relates a little bit, to what you were studying, Ginerva, in the sense that I suppose you're looking at how we present product and clothing to the market. And actually, Ena, you were really focusing on that plus size woman and how there were certain barriers within the industry that were, preventing them from finding suitable workwear. So perhaps you could expand a little bit on your study.
Okay, so the plus size apparel market actually presents a significant and expanding opportunity in the fashion industry. And despite this growth, plus size women still find it very difficult in navigating, finding workwear to express their professionalism and also self-expression. So the aim of the study was to delve into the lived experiences of navigating and finding suitable workwear to empower them in this workplace, and also their expectations from brand in making the workwear that suits their body type.
And I believe you focused on workwear because it was an area that had been sort of unresearched into, but was there any other reasons why you focused on workwear in particular?
Because, I've gone to so many TED Talks and, public speaking, and I see, from my personal experience, the delivery when it comes to a plus size woman who's like in charge of that particular presentation, I feel like the confidence that these women have somehow limited by maybe the way what she wears and all of that. Whereas with different body types, getting on stage and people are applauding, the person is definitely very confident. And I see that this has actually hindered these women from being their authentic self, presenting themselves in a professional way that they feel, I'm a strong and powerful woman. I could also be like every other person because I'm equally as competent as them. So I feel like them not having something to wear, the way you present yourself, first of all, gives you the confidence to be able to be wherever you are. So yeah, that was one of the things that inspired me to go into that topic.
It's very interesting because I think both of you are saying that what we wear influences who we are, perhaps, and what happens to us. And whether or not that's the case with men, that would be a really interesting study to look into. But I kind of sort of perhaps know the response to that. But so Ena, perhaps you could tell me a little bit about your methodology. Were you looking at it from the perspective of consumers, or were you looking at more from the perspective of brands? Or
Okay, I was looking at it from the perspective of this plus size women who are the consumers already. And, I adopted a qualitative research design, having semi-structured interview with my sample size were professional plus size women in various sectors, working sectors in the US.
So your focus was on the US?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was that interviews or surveys?
Semi-structured interview.
Semi-structured interview, sorry, you did say.
Yeah.
And so how did you actually find your sample of people to interview? So
there's a forum where they have plus size women. You have different forums where they have plus size women. I reached out to an influencer who is really vocal about inclusivity, and she also reached out to other plus size women who participated in the research.
Brilliant. So it's a bit sort of like a snowball effect. You started like saying, this is what I want to find out, and
exactly.
Okay.
Snowball sample.
Ginerva, from your perspective, I think it was more from a business perspective. So, maybe you could just share a little bit about your methodology.
Yeah. So I also did semi-structured interviews, so qualitative design, and doing a business report. It was mainly industry-based sample. So I interviewed 7 from top managers to CEOs of either women's wear fashion brands or brands that would working with women's wear fashion brands. But I also had a smaller consumer sample to hear about their opinion on brand activism. So I interviewed 4 UK female Gen Z fashion consumers, because that was my focus.
That's interesting. So you got kind of the 2 perspectives, I suppose. And can I ask, out of those industry professionals that you interviewed, were they women or they were all women?
No. That was a huge limitation of my study, although when I then argued my limitation, because 6 of 7 of my participants were males, so like very high percentage. But then I went in to look at the UK managerial position statistics, and it turned out that only 1 out of 10 CEOs are females. So at the end, my sample was quite representative, although we can't really talk about representation on a qualitative study, but it was very aligned with reality. So it was interesting because on my findings, it was possible to argue also this aspect and how brand activism for female empowerment, the extent to which it can be implemented, having such a big male presence in the industry. And they were quite opposing findings because the males kind of agreed on certain aspects, while the only female were often going against what they were suggesting.
Yeah, I was going to say, was there an element of surprise that you were actually even investigating this topic?
Yeah, this is a very new topic. So I was very surprised to many extents because there's not much research about it, and many of my findings were very novel. But on the aspect of male and females, it was very visible to see that males did not find gender equality as much of an issue. They were like, oh, but now we're like, it's getting over it. We're like very gender balanced. Well, at the end, statistics and like reports don't really match these opinions. And my only female participant agreed that we're very far away from having a neutral workplace balance.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because I found that employee values and belief were very reflective on the brand and then consequently on the industry. So I believe that having a balanced team would be vital to create and further gender equality in the industry.
Yeah, I suppose having a balance of male and females potentially could lead to a business where they have. It's quite interesting that the female had quite different views to the males that interviewed. So that could suggest that maybe be a bit more of a balanced senior management team.
Yeah, because at the moment it's like, in my opinion, 6 against 1.
Yeah.
So of course, like the 6 would win, but then what about the 1, which is still representing a 50% of society? Yeah. And the issues are big because like we're talking about sexual violence and other discriminations, which could have a bit more of a regard, I believe.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is a stat that you put into your study, but you know, if we look at the fashion market, you know, women are potentially, just in my experience anyway, you know, whenever you work for a business that sells menswear and women's wear, the menswear offer is always far smaller than the women's wear offer. Mm-hmm. Okay, very interesting. Yeah. So, Ena, from your perspective, what were your were there any surprises in the findings that you made from your study?
Okay, I would say there's a huge gap when it comes to inclusivity for plus size women, and lots of what amazed me was the fact that a lot of brands claim they are inclusive, but this is face value. They do the talk and they don't do the work. You say you're inclusive, they go to the store. These plus size women don't even find any sizes that you are advertising online to say you are inclusive. So this was something that was really surprising to me, because I didn't know, like, if you claim that you are inclusive, why don't you offer this ranges of sizes that you say you have in store or even online?
Do you think that they were perhaps offering those sizes but not in store? I mean, with these brands that had plus size models, let's say, on their web pages and were claiming to be plus size, but then in
reality, my participants said they see this advertisement of, oh, we are inclusive, we have these extended sizes. We go to store and then you have 1-2 product and you say this is size 18, size 20, 2 product, and then that's it. So is this all? So is this all you have to offer? And you call it, you call yourself being inclusive? Yeah. Like, that's ridiculous. So that's one thing that I was shocked to know, that, you know, if you do the talk, you have to do the work as a fashion brand.
Yeah, so I don't know what you call it. We call it greenwashing in the world of sustainability, but there must be something that's similar in the world of inclusivity and diversity of sizing.
Yeah.
So I suppose, based on your finding, you know, did you come up with recommendations for perhaps what the industry should perhaps be doing?
Yeah, I would say they should expand the ranges that they have and in-store availability. Just like you say, you get to the store, they don't have options. You have just small options. The options you have for normal size should fit across all size ranges. And then in-store availability for plus size women, they don't have in-store availability really, because their options are offered online. And you have this ridiculous return policy where if you order it online, because if you were in store, you go there, try it on, and if it doesn't fit, you can put it back there. But if you order online, you have this return policy where you said you could only give them a gift card. So yeah, like, that's what most of my participants said. So if they could offer all of this and in-store availability, and if it's online, have like a tool which they can have like a virtual try on, and to see how this tint fits, so that if I have an idea of how this fits, I would take the risk of buying it, knowing that I wouldn't get my money back. I'll probably get a gift card or something. And also, one of the recommendations is that designers should also work with like plus size influencers who understand the body size, how they want to dress. When it comes to trends, plus size women have no option when it comes to trends, because they are not even inclusive. And they could offer options for them to also, there are plus size women who want to look good. You know, this is the new trend, this is a style. I'm also stylish, but I don't have this option. So if they could have that collaborations between plus size influencers and the designers, and also when it comes to affordability and transparency, you know, the fat tax, because you're a plus size, your clothing have to be more expensive. They have to create options for different budgets, because not all plus size people, you can have plus size people who can afford something and others who can afford stuff. So they should have the options for different budgets. And then if you say, you're to be transparent, if you say this is a size 18, size 20 outfit, if I go in there, I try it should be a size 18 and size 20, so that this would actually, you know, at least limit the numbers of returns that a brand would have. So these are some of the recommendations.
So it sounds like, you know, first of all, there's a challenge of the fact that the plus size kind of choice is limited, in the sense that, you know, if the plus size products just tend to be sort of quite sort of basic pieces, and there isn't that sort of excitement and interest that fashion items would normally offer.
Yeah.
So already the plus size consumers choices are limited.
Yeah.
But then it also sounds that, you know, there is perhaps a problem with the actual sizing, in the sense that a size 18 might fit differently in one store compared to another brand store. So it sounds like there's almost like, you know, two pieces of work that need to be done in order to sort of be able to appeal to this demographic. And yeah, I mean, can you think why it might be like that?
Having different brands with different size, and I feel that the fashion industry needs to do better. Probably they should invest more in understanding the sizes of plus size women. For example, if plus size woman told me that her size standing is different from her size, okay, the size of her tummy standing is different from the size when she's sitting down. And, you know, this should cut across. I feel the fashion industry should invest in study to understand the diverse and different body size of different plus size women. In that way, they will be able to have like a standard size that run across all brands. Not one brand 18 is another brand size 14, and you're wondering why all these discrepancies, because they don't have that information that they need to have like a standard size for the plus size women.
No, it seems like they're quite penalised, because if they can't return the product if it doesn't fit them, and then it's being sold only online, and that, you know, I'm not surprised that they are sort of loath to invest in some of the pieces that are on offer. So Ginerva, from your perspective, what were some of your kind of key findings from your study? Because obviously you were looking at it from a slightly different perspective. You're looking at more kind of from a communications perspective.
Yeah, so from my side, the main finding, which kind of went against literature, was that so brands are scared or like held back from engaging in brand activism because there's a potential boycotting from consumers that do not agree with the cause the brand is taking. So once a brand take a stance on a political issue, since they have to, like often these topics are polarized, if consumers are on the other side, they tend to boycott the brand. While from my findings with consumer, I find that the only causes consumer actually do boycott a brand is if the cause is immoral, so going against human rights, which shouldn't happen anyways. So this was the main finding, that boycotting is not as big as a problem as research suggests. On the other side, alignment with the brand's value and the product is a very big, it's very important. So brand, when they take this stance, or also from the beginning when they choose a cause to stand for, they should really make sure that it fits with their values and their brand. However, there is a little risk, because if the brand product aligns too much with the cause, the risk to be a coming back, backfire, we can call it backfire, from consumers, because it might appear as a conflict of interest. So brands need to be very careful to align their cause to their brand, product and values and industry, but then at the same time do not take a communicative stance that goes as if they were trying to promote it. Because if they're trying to promote it and the consumer perceive it as a promotion, then it does backfire. And then finally, the main finding was that whatever choice they take, whatever stance they take, whatever cause they choose, brands need to take concrete actions. Because unless the brand actually shows consumer that they're doing something concrete for whatever cause, which can be female empowerment, they really need to show that they're doing something to promote female empowerment. Because if they're just talking about it and not really doing anything, then it causes this woke washing, which is when a brand just fakely is doing brand activism for like a marketing campaign. And that's really, really detrimental for the brand equity of the brand.
So both of you witness the challenges that, or the problem in the industry where people say they're doing something, but not actually doing it.
Yeah.
I think it's very easy for us to say we're doing something, but then not actually act on that.
Mm-hmm.
So given your findings, what next? What are you going to do? Anything with your research? You said, Ginerva, that it's very kind of new and very untapped research. So do you plan to sort of research further or perhaps apply it to your future career?
Yeah, so as you said, it's a very novel topic and there is not really a position for it. Although also in my finding, talking with practitioners, we did analyze that it would be very smart to include a department that just specialize on this, because it's easy to create, to have backfires. And once a backfire arises, a communication team dedicated to this would be ideal, because they know about the topic, they know about anything. And I would love to continue on brand activism in-house for a fashion brand, especially because there's so many fashion brands that would really fit with a brand activism stance for female empowerment, because any fashion brand that has female empowerment values could really do a lot with this. But at the moment, there is not much. So
there's still this fear, I suppose, which was indicated in the research, that you don't want to appear to be too much of an activist for fear that it's going to backfire and maybe your brand's going to be boycotted. So
alienate consumers and
So you need to maybe change that mindset.
Yeah, I would love to. And I feel like there would also be so many new topics to investigate, crisis communication, what strategies would be best. It's a very interesting topic. I really like it. And there's lots to do. But I feel like first step, finding a job.
Yeah, and I think Generation Z by nature are far more brand activists than perhaps my generation. I'm definitely not Generation Z.
Yeah.
And maybe Generation Alpha are going to be even more so. So potentially this could be, could provide, a structure, I suppose, for future brands to actually tap into those markets.
Yeah, you would be not a whole department, but within corporate social responsibility, because it just slightly differs from it. It's a bit more political brand activism than corporate social responsibility. But within, we have a corporate social responsibility department at the moment, and maybe tailoring a couple of human resources to this and a couple to brand activism would be a good way to go.
Yeah.
But definitely engage more with it, because it's really, really valuable for brand equity and other business outcomes.
Yeah, which is what you discovered from having spoken to the Generation Z demographic.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And Ena, what about yourself? What's your plan now? What are you going to do with your research findings?
As a fashion designer, I think the change starts with me. So I'm going to be actively participating in creating lines for plus size women, and I would also work in building a community-driven platform where this plus size women, anybody, whoever you are, we could have an interaction where we can promote body positivity, because really that's actually what is lacking. If we are able to promote the body positivity, I think that fashion would embrace it more and be aware that there are not everybody in the world is actually represented when it comes to fashion.
Yeah, and I suppose also if you did successfully create that community, you could also really start unpicking, what does a size 18 look like? What does a size 22, 24, 26, whatever, and actually get more accuracy within the sizing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, look, I look forward to seeing your brand. I look forward to seeing you on LinkedIn with your posts about brand activism once you've secured your role. So thank you both very much. Really interesting to hear your different points of view on inclusivity and women in the fashion industry, and I wish you both the best of luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening.
Yeah.